Alright guys, back here with the 550 project. So as you can see, I've made a little bit of progress here. Got the new bonsai mod in and the engine. Now, okay, so before this, if you don't know what a bonsai mod is, you can kind of see it down there probably. But if you don't know what it is, you can go check out, I'm going to upload the video on that thing before I upload this video. So basically it's just a little upgrade with automatic transmission fluid, but you can check out the full video on that, and I kind of just go and explain how that all works and the purpose. But so I took out this one. Now the reason I'm making this video is because this thing was a nightmare to get out. It was horrendous trying to get this thing out. So basically I want to just talk about how to get one of these drive shafts out of your jet ski with the minimum amount of effort, because I probably tried to get this thing out. It took a total of like 6 hours to get this thing out. So it was not a fun job at all, and I'd like to save a couple people a little bit of trouble. So I'll just kind of go through all the steps I took to get it out, and then I'll go over what I think is the best way and the best process. So basically I had this thing, and it was in the jet ski. I took all the hardware out of it, and I went to like just kind of pull on it with my hands, and the engine was out, and I was standing inside the jet ski leaning up against the pole a little bit, so that like if the thing busted out on me, I wouldn't like fly back off the jet ski. So I kind of had like my butt resting like over here and leaning up against the pole, and I was just pulling on it. It wasn't working, and so then I got like a rubber mallet out and was hitting it, trying to hit it from an angle. That wasn't working. Tried a dead blow. That wasn't working. Mind you, I also got the E-box out of the way when I was doing this, because that's just more crap in your way. So just take that out. It's four bolts. Take it out, move it up off to the side, and then just because you don't want to hit something and end up breaking it, and then you got a big old bill on your hands. So yeah, just get that out of the way completely. And then I was hitting it with the dead blow, and I was pulling on it, and I tried to get a razor blade behind it to try to like cut the silicone, but it literally wouldn't even get behind the bearing carrier because it's so tight. I just don't know. And then on top of that, they have these locating pins, so you can't spin it, and pulling on it in uneven ways can kind of cause it to bind, I would assume, which is kind of where half of my trouble came from, because there's really not a lot of good room to get a nice pull straight back. And so after I tried the mallets, oh yeah, I was really mad at that point, and I got the air hammer out with like the big compressor, turned the tool pressure all the way up to the max pressure, got a rubber hose, like an old exhaust hose I had laying around, cut it into squares, like just cut it down the middle, and then I had a couple squares of it. Obviously you can see the air hammer went through it, but I used that, tried to put it like on the coupler and then angle it out as much as I could, even though there's not a lot of room to maneuver the air hammer in there. But so after I did that, it just ended up going through the rubber completely and dinging up the coupler, which I did put on there, and I kind of wish I didn't, but I don't know, none of these other couplers would thread on right, and I didn't want to risk stripping it out. So anyways, after then the rubber was like bunk, with the air hammer went right through it in like a few hits. So I just said, screw it, I don't even care, let's just use the air hammer directly on the coupler. I don't even care if it messes it up. I'm not going to use it, which I ended up using it. But I did get it pretty badly in a couple areas, just like being mad and not caring because I just wanted it to come off, because at that point I'd probably been working on it for like 4 hours, and all I wanted to do was get that out so I could get my engine in. So I couldn't, I don't know, it wouldn't work, obviously. It's still in there, and I'm even more mad now. So I tried getting, what I did was I got the thinnest shim that I had. You can see it's all bent up. And I just took that, bent it like out, and got behind the bearing carrier with the super thin shim that's like even thinner than the razor blade, so it could hopefully get behind there. And I just worked on that, going and just cutting up as far as I could into the silicone behind it as I possibly could. And then after I did that all the way around, it probably took like a good half hour, 45 minutes to just sit there and get the shim as deep as it can be all the way around. And mind you, when you're going around it too, you are going to hit these locating pins. So when you hit something and you're trying to cut it, don't be confused. There are 2 locating pins here. So if you're looking at it from the front of the ski, the top left and the bottom right are going to be where those locating pins are. So just keep that in mind as you go around it. So once I did that, I just I had this ratchet strap like hooked around the coupler, and then this end hooked, if it'll just come undone, I had this end hooked here, and then I had like the ratchet here trying to like ratchet it as hard as I could, and then I could have something else to grab onto with like the added force. So I ratcheted it super tight, put like a rag here so it wouldn't make this thing any worse than it already is, and just started ratcheting it. And then once it was as tight as it could be until it literally like bent the arm, I just hopped in there again and was pulling on the rope, so I kind of had something better to grab onto than just the coupler. And I just sat there and pulled on that thing as hard as I could for probably another good half hour. And then finally, just one of the times, I just like pulled on it super hard, and the thing busted out, came out, like destroyed my foot, because I had like these shoes on, because I don't want to destroy a good pair of shoes. So it literally just destroyed my foot when I pulled it out like full force. And luckily I was leaning up against this so I didn't like fly off onto the car or something. But so that's how I ended up having to take this thing off. And what I would personally do is just right away razor blade around it, and then just, or not razor blade, shim, do the shim all the way around it. If there's any shims in there, make sure you know where they are so that when you pull it out, you can put them back where they were, so it's all properly aligned. And then once you do that, I would just literally start pulling on it like as hard as you can. With, you know, I'd get in here, stand in there, or maybe like 1 foot, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and just start pulling on that thing. Get the ratchet strap from here to here so you don't have to be right there. And you could even do one on each side, one for your buddy, you know, and you guys can both do it, which obviously twice the strength is going to be better. So, I mean, I would definitely do that if you have a friend or something that, you know, isn't worried about like hurting themselves when the thing kind of breaks loose on them. Like, that's what I would do, is get a buddy. And then if you have, like, I would just put something here, anything, just lean something up against this, so that when that thing flies out, if you have 2 people pulling on it and you're both going backwards, I just wouldn't want, for some reason, this thing to bust out and go and destroy something up here or something, or fly up and punch a hole in something. So definitely kind of protect that and plan on when this thing comes out, you're going to be pulling as hard as you possibly can, and it's going to just fly out, which is why I like had my foot there and it ended up hitting my foot, and that's kind of what stopped me. So that's the deal. And don't use the air hammer unless it's like an absolute necessity, because it just destroys everything, which I knew it was going to do, but I didn't really have any better solutions at the time. So that's what I would do. Just skip the air hammer. Get a dead blow if you want to hit it with something. You can get a dead blow, I would say. But other than that, don't try like sticking a pry bar in here. You're going to like just break this or something. So that's the way I found was the best way. Or if you have like a lawn mower like that, I was thinking maybe tie the ratchet strap to that thing and then tie the back of that to like a car or something that's like parked, and then like lightly start pulling with the lawnmower so that you don't like drive off with it and destroy something. Like just kind of give it like light taps and have the foot covering the brake. If you know, that's probably like if you're alone, or I don't know, if your back hurts or something and you can't really get in there to pull on that, and when it lets go you're worried you might hurt yourself or something, which is a very real possibility because that thing lets go. That's a pretty, in my opinion, I didn't actually do it, but in theory it sounds like a good idea. So it's just another idea for you. I mean, you could even probably do it with a car, but I just would feel a little bit better with like just a little lawnmower, nothing too extreme. So that's what I would do. I mean, you could even tie it to like a tree or something. This stuff isn't that strong. It's just stronger than I am just pulling on it. So anyways, that's what I would do. A little bit of a lengthy video, but I think it's just, no one really talks about this. It's just kind of like suffering when you have to take one of these out. So that's the best way that I found that you could do it. And then with the little added goodie of if you want to get extreme, get the lawnmower out and pop it out, no problem, more than likely. But I mean, I don't know. So that's my deal though, and I think that that's probably the best way to get it out without doing anything too crazy. So I hope that tip helps someone out there, and have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.